hip-hop motivation team and I started Culture Vultures with the idea to do more.
Just drop down and get your ego out.
I can't want to call her wifey because it's not official, but we've been together for about 5-6 years. You're smiling. What do you mean?
Something when the fading with the popular, that was my problem. I was in a dark room, loud tones, looking to make a vow.
I'm smiling, but the fact that you're saying is making me want to smile.
Also, I want to acknowledge the fact that I've been wearing bathrobes a lot, and the reason why is because I'm in my crib.
Never quit until the clock stops, and never die out till your heart drops.
So that's what the bathrobe thing is about. And I like bathrobe. Always did. I wear poopy button on you that. Anybody else?
I'm so sorry.
You would check the Instagram. Also want to appreciate everyone that's listening, because if you are listening, that means you bought this directly from me, Dame Dash, and my man Kenyatta, Hip Hop Motivation, and the Culture Vulture.
Hip Hop Motivation.
Chapter 1. First off, my name is Dame Dash, and this is Culture Vultures, the book.
This is some real life shit.
You know, this started off as a mentality, and it was something I articulated, and I thought it made sense to put it on paper. Me and Kenyatta, that is. So, I'm gonna give you all like the first couple of chapters directly from me. You know, I like music, so I thought that it would be cool to have some music playing while I talk, make it sound cooler. So this is the first chapter. Life after corporate wealth. My rule of thumb is, don't smoke until you make your first million. Don't smoke. And then it says Dame Dash, or Damon Dash. When I was growing up, my only fear was losing my mother. So when she passed, I was devastated. But from that moment on, I went into a fearless zone. I became unafraid to live life to the fullest, especially because I didn't have the security of my mother to fall back on if something went wrong. If I didn't have money, I always knew that my mother would take care of me. So not having that crutch to lean on was when I became a pure cakeaholic, maybe a savage. Everything that I am is because of my mother. Independence was very important to her. She never relied on anyone for anything. I always seen my mother take nothing and turn it into something. She always made sure I saw the world. And because of her, I went to private school as well as boarding school. I never graduated, but I eventually got my GED. I always read a lot and stayed fluent in math with or without school. Reading is important. Writing is important. And just being able to add and multiply is important. To all the dropouts that might be reading this book, getting your GED isn't a bad move. It's actually a good way to continue finishing anything that you started, which is a major plus in accomplishing further goals. But I also didn't go to school for fashion, making movies and music. I directed movies, and I'm not gonna lie. At times, when I think about it, it's crazy for me to believe that I'm actually directing because I didn't go to film school. I'm not trying to push that education is important by saying all this, because my belief is that school plus street knowledge is the ideal way to come up. But for me, experience was always my best teacher. If you don't know what you want to do, I think it's best to go to school until you find out what it is you want to become. And when you do find out what that is, my advice is that you go out and live it. First off, my name is Dame Dash, and we back to the Culture Vulture book. Like I said, I decided to talk to y'all direct. I decided to keep it at 3 minutes apiece so it felt like a record, you know, maybe give you a different experience while I'm reading. So I'm gonna just pick it up where I left off. To me, none of this was brain surgery. I'm from 142nd Street in Lenox. I've been getting money for my whole life, which is what made me confident in business. When I was 15, I had rope chains, a Maxima, which is a car for all those that don't know. I have an air of arrogance because I've accomplished things on the street level as well as on the business level that most people couldn't. It's not that they can't. A lot of people just don't have enough guts to go out and make moves that lead to success. And from my perspective, that would be the only thing that's holding anyone back from accomplishing any dream. My objective wasn't just to be a rich kid from Harlem, but to take over the world. I knew all my life I was going to be rich. I didn't know how I was going to make my money. I just knew that there'd be opportunities that I was going to capitalize on. What I started to do was draw my ideas on the storyboard to help me visualize. And that was even before I could understand the power of imagination. I definitely believe that if you can't visualize something, it won't become a reality for you. For me, I've always imagined my desires in full detail to keep me aligned with what I was working towards. So I guess you could say that because I focused my attention on what I wanted to do, things began to happen. And from a scientific level, the universe responded to my movement. Kind of like that. Responded to my movement. Pause. Before Biggs, Jay-Z and myself created Rockefeller Records, we used to go out and look at real estate that at the time we knew we couldn't afford. Houses, apartments, and stuff. We did this just so we'd be savvy in the marketplace when we finally could afford it. Since I've always had a strong belief in my abilities as a hustler, I honestly never believed that anything I ever went and looked at that I couldn't eventually afford, whether it was houses, cars, or jewelry, once I found out what something cost, I've always figured out a way to get it, if I really wanted it. I'm a firm believer in calculated movement, so I never make moves without first doing my homework, which is research. First off, my name is Dame Dash. Bianca has been playing the piano when she did this piece for me yesterday. So I felt like I should pick it up from there with this in the background. And this is Culture Vultures, the book. I mean, Kenyatta, he's not here, but I'm gonna handle this myself. Research can stop you from becoming overwhelmed, which usually leads to giving up. This rule applies to everything. Research helps you measure what it'll take to make things happen. Whether you're working a 9 to 5 or hustling in the street, it's important for everyone looking to come up, to at least cherish an hour a day towards advancement. Yeah, I know a lot of people will think, well, that's easy for him to say. He already has money. That's true. But the same way I came up would be the same way I would tell someone working a full-time job to come up. That would be to make their goals a part-time job that requires only an hour or more of concentration each day to turn the dream into a full-time lifestyle. I call it a lifestyle because I don't like to use the word job. To me, it's not fun. The word job is one of the wackest words in the dictionary. And have fun is the secret behind all my success. I'm speaking from experience. This is why I only build businesses that I love. I love to play drinking games with my friends, so I went into the vodka business, Armadale. I love looking fresh to death, so I created Rockwear, as well as so many other things. And as you saw, I loved hip-hop, so I went into business with my friends by creating Rockefeller Records. The excitement of your journey is what I'm into. It's the reason I've always found my way back to success, because I stay on the path of what I love to do. What I did before, I can't do now. That's an old business model. When I launched Rockefeller Records, I was in my 20s. Now I'm in my 40s. I'm a totally different person now. When I was in my 20s, I wanted everyone to know I was rich. I was insecure. At this point in my life, I'm comfortable with being behind the scenes. And I'm all cash and carry, no credit. People always ask me what happened between me and Jay, as if there was some sort of beef that broke us apart. Before, I would never answer the question, to add interest to intrigue. But now it's time to come clean. All we did was create a company together. We sold that. He went corporate, and I decided to stay independent. There was no beef. Pause. I'm proud of Jay-Z's success, as well as Kanye's success. Inside, I feel like I had something to do with their success. I don't have anything but positive things to say, because what Jay wanted to become, he became. And what Kanye wanted to become, he became. I have a love for doing business and seeing my old friends successful. It's a piece of my enthusiasm. I never wanted a boss. And if I did have a boss, they would have to pay me like I was a boss. And that would never happen. So I had to create an opportunity for myself that would allow me to control my environment. And that's why I chose independence. Being a successful independent businessman, I'm usually asked how I turned Rockefeller into a success. My response is that I made it a brand that stood for something. We were known for aspirational living, getting money, and having the best. Being that the brand defines the company, the minute that one of those standards are compromised, Rockefeller Records went down. Because if you sell something to the consumer, it has to be real. If you're known for being a nerd and the consumer buys into it, the minute you're not a nerd, they may stop checking for you. If you're known for being thorough, the minute you're not thorough, the consumer may turn their back on you, because the psychology of the consumer is to buy into the brand's consistency. Just think about it for yourself. The company is good as the people you surround yourself with. Where I'm at right now with business, I don't like to be the smartest person in the room. So I surround myself with capable people who have vision as well. When I had Rockefeller Records, I used to get so frustrated with people who didn't get my vision, or those who were trying to exploit the culture of hip-hop, that I would find myself fighting and arguing for position all the time. But now, at this point in my life, I'm at peace. I only surround myself with like-minded individuals. It's true that I love all types of money. I love the yen, I love the euro, I love the franc, pause, and I love the dollar. Since I love different types of currency, I have to be in different places to do business. At times, I do feel like I spread myself thin, but it's what I've asked for. I made a decision to be a businessman, so I have to live it to the fullest. My nature is optimistic. I can sell anything. I breathe, eat, and shit money. I know it sounds cocky, but it's real. It's the type of realness that a person has to have in order to navigate their movement toward doing and accomplishing whatever they want, period. I remember when I first got into the music game, I would see cats popping champagne that I knew didn't put half the energy and time that I put in. From seeing that, I knew I had to get this money. That's why I got my friends together and began doing business. So I love hip-hop. My aim was, and still is, to build a team of friends to create wealth. My belief is that I have to be able to kick it with you to do business with you. I couldn't imagine surrounding myself every day with people I don't like. To me, at that point, creativity becomes limited. As you've seen, when it comes to press on Dame Dash, it's usually full of doubt. So to me, I have to be good at what I do. I'm a very competitive person. But in the process of being competitive, I don't take anything for granted. I still appreciate the little things in life. From a chauffeur opening a door, flying a private jet, and especially when it comes to my family, it doesn't matter what the press and the other people think about me. As long as my family is cool with me being who I am, that's important to me. As long as I'm breathing, I'll always be independent and hungry for more, which is why I'm still making moves today. I can't stop. What else can I say? I'm addicted to business. I love getting money. Chapter 1. Peace.
it take to become successful?
This is Kenyatta, the Barber Vultures of hip hop. My main man Damon Dash, bringing you Culture Vultures, the book.
You know, Kenyatta, I appreciate how humble you are, but you gotta let them know what's really going on.
What?
We're gonna reapproach the way we give you information. Traditionally, people gave you the written book, but that was before the internet, that was before digital cameras, and that's before I learned how to play the guitar. And I don't think it's respectful for you to get on this track and act like I'm not playing the guitar on this track, Kenyatta. But anyway, we're gonna get back to the book, or the album, or whatever else you wanna call it. Call it the experience. Holla.
George Bernard Shaw said, there's 3 types of people in the world. Those that make things happen, those that watch things happen, and those that don't know what's happening.
Hip hop motivation.
There's also 2 P's in the world that we grow by, and you can't grow without these 2, and that's people and projects. And studying the business ethics of Dame and working on Culture Vultures, the book, for over the last 10 years has definitely expanded my vision of success and what it means to stay true to your heart's callings. Word up.
Culture Vultures by Kenyatta Kari and Damon Dash. Pause.
Exactly. I want to take this time to give a big shout out to my man Kenyatta and the Hip Hop Motivation and his whole team. Because what he did was, he came over and gave me a haircut every day for free, never charged me. While everybody was talking that shit, he would just ask me my perspective in a way that didn't offend me. And I would give him that information. And that's how we began to talk. But again, he's so humble, he's just gonna get right to the information. So let's get back to it, Kenyatta. But I like the way it's going down.
Pause.
This is the birth of Culture Vultures. As a barber on Crenshaw Boulevard in Los Angeles, I've always been interested in what it takes to become successful and maintain a certain lifestyle. So through my clientele, I've done my own census over the span of 20 years. The conversations and data that I've collected over those years will make any clinical psychologist envious of the work I've done. What started out as lightweight conversations that allowed me to enter the lifestyle of each client, low-key turned into an obsession that further turned me into a student of nature. As I became nature's student, I noticed the infinite messages in not only the people that were doing well, but in all forms of life. Whether I was peeping game on how an ant gathers food for the winter, or how a crackhead chases his high by any means necessary. Regardless to what presents itself, I'm checking out the scene to learn something valuable in all situations. Word up.
You know, I don't even care that the dogs is barking. Dogs bark, it's natural. See, this is the shit I'm talking about. The way you approach a man is in mathematics. If he puts up his own money, then that makes him a boss. It makes him the boss in his house. It makes him the president. It makes him the mayor, the governor, whatever he wants to call himself. And that's the mutual understanding me and Kenyatta have always had, which is always why we can always have an equal conversation.
So what does it take to become successful? What's interesting is that one question always had different answers. But the majority ruled that success had everything to do with what side of the financial ladder a person was on. For instance, when I asked my homeboy Tone, who's a successful street pharmacist, he said, on the real, my success comes from how hard I grind every day. And most of all, never tricking my paper on bullshit. Then when I asked my folks Dr. D, who happens to be a medical doctor with his own successful herbal supplement company on the side, he said, my secret to success has everything to do with how many people I help. Helping people is the one and only answer that defines true success. I agree.
And I must say, I agree too. You see, this is what I'm saying. Bosses tend to think alike. When a man puts up his own money, that makes him the boss of his house. You see, my man Kenyatta has a barbershop. He's an entrepreneur. And when he used to do me the service of coming to my house and cutting my hair for dough, we used to talk. And I found his approach was similar to mine. And then as we started to become friends, he stopped charging me. I found that interesting. That's the phone ringing and I don't mind. I'm in my house. And then what he did was he started to ask me, look, how can I make money off my experience? And then I used to give him the advice and I used to tell him the things that I had done. And he
started to apply it his way, he wrote a book. He didn't just talk about it, he was about it, he completed it. It's not his first pony, pause. He has other things. The Secret to Ballin, he made a movie. He got a barbershop. He even made some bunk. What was that thing you had, man? That bunk cream. He actually what inspired me to do this book. People have been telling me to do a book for years. He just did one and I just jumped in. And I appreciate that. And you know I could talk for days. We're gonna get paid for it. And we can sound cool, just having casual conversation, because this is the way we talk. See, I don't talk to stupid motherfuckers. I don't talk to dudes that don't have anything to say. I'm not a chatty guy, because a guy's not chatty, that's for women. You know, I keep chatty guys away from me. I call them chatty pie. Anyway, this is the way we're gonna approach delivering information. Whether you call it a record, whether you call it a book, audio, whatever. I'm just gonna have fun while I do it, and it's just gonna be natural. We're gonna just kick it. And it's gonna be the first of many. And let's see how it goes, man, fuck it. Let's just start.
Hip-hop motivation.
Helping people, of course, is an obvious mission when it comes to the amount of money we expect to accumulate. But is that the one and only answer of what constitutes success? Think about it. First, overlook the morality of what Tone does for a living, illegal street hustling, and process that information without judgment for a second. Isn't Tone in the service business as well? I mean, the only difference is that Dr. D has a legal practice that serves patients in the hospital, and Tone has an illegal practice that serves fiends in the street. So just service couldn't be the answer to continued success, because just a week ago, Tone got locked up on drug trafficking charges. There has to be more to coming up than providing a service. I later found out from studying a wide variety of people who have achieved success on different levels that there is a common component that lies in the hearts of the successful in comparison to the minds of the unsuccessful. The answer is love. A love for what they are channeling to the world. I say channeling because all creativity is God, and each individual is capable of being used to translate this unique creativity. Midway into my career as a barber, I began to build a strong clientele of entrepreneurs, including entertainers. Without name dropping, I must say I've had one hell of a career, working for the people on stage, on screen, and to the executives behind the scenes. What I've witnessed was that whether someone was the star or the person behind the scenes, their success had everything to do with the amount of love they had for what they were doing. That being the case, one of my not only favorite clients, but one of my favorite people, Dame Dash, became one of my main barber client case studies. I first started documenting Dame back in 2004 after I created an audiobook called Think and Ball Out, where I recorded a 20-minute interview with him called The Secret to Ballin. From there, I started recording and documenting everything going on with him over the next 10 years. Every time I went to cut his hair, I was either jotting down notes, recording, or filming an interview with him. Even when he was back in New York, I would call him to check in, especially when I heard about news like him being broke, his divorce, or court battles with his son's mother. Besides loving the business he conducts, the one thing I did gather from Dame was his reaction as well as approach to ups as well as his so-called downs. He remains above the pendulum swing of life by remaining happy no matter what's going on. So to me, he always appeared to be one of my richest clients. If not financially, then it would have to be the richest in spirit, which at the end of the day happens to be the most important wealth anyway. After years of documenting so much of Dame's life, the hip-hop motivation team, including myself, decided to continue filming Dame. This time we edited the conversations into YouTube videos since we didn't have anything on our own YouTube channel or website at the time. It just so happened that his ex-wife, Rachel Roy, was in the news due to an altercation between Jay-Z and Beyonce's sister Solange. We received a lot of attention from our video where we asked Dame his opinion on what happened, but mainly it was due to the various media outlets putting that video on their sites. At the time, we were using my boy Jonathan, who happens to be the director of The Secret to Ballin, to capture the first interviews at Dame's crib in Malibu. My partner in hip-hop motivation, Carolyn, was at work during the time we had to capture this footage, so we did what we had to do. From there, Carol and my girl Michelle, who was on lighting and audio, and myself handled everything from that point on in order to put the videos up weekly. The music is a product of my other partner who lives in New York, John Littleside Robinson, and his brother ID4 Wins, who creates all the music that you hear during the interviews. Then you have the Hip Hop Motivation logo and the Secret of Ballin building block that was created by Kirk K. Double Weber. That logo has been seen by over 4.6 million people according to YouTube's analytics, all thanks to the fans that support our Hip Hop Motivation movement. In spite of what you might have heard from the gate, each one of us were born winning. Because out of the millions that competed marathon style to reach our mother's aid, we were the ones that made it. Also being born to a rich father with infinite lineage is also amazing. I'm not talking about our physical father, I'm talking about the source that some of us call the Heavenly Father. Don't sleep. We're the direct spiritual descendants of the richest and most abundant force in the universe, making it our birthright as vessels of the Most High to know if we seek and to teach when we speak. This is why Hip Hop Motivation as a whole is a vessel that will continue to channel forth information that can possibly wake up what is already within all of us. Even if you don't agree, it will at least open the door for a polarity of dialogue. Hip hop is a spiritual tool that over the years has been used to uplift as well as confuse. It's a culture that has circulated love and sometimes hate. But my love for the culture is the spark that started the blaze within my heart to help shed light to a culture that by design was left to stay in the dark. So from the Hip Hop Motivation team and myself, we appreciate your purchase of this book and your continued support. God bless. Peace.
You are now tuned in to Hip Hop Motivation. I'm grateful, but I'm just so tired of this damn job. People say I'm successful, but I just don't see it that way. I think it's time for me to step up and go for my dreams.
A lot of people stuck in jobs and they hate it. I don't think that's nobody's fault but theirs.
When you are studying something you love, it's nothing but fun.
I work hard. I work harder than an ugly stripper.
You have to first believe in yourself before anyone else can believe in you.
We have the capabilities to create the impossible.
I've been through a lot of stuff in life, but never once have I felt like this is the end of my path.
You have to find your zone that's comfortable for you.
I just like to impress me. I'm constantly challenging myself.
I finally understand the secret to Ballin.